Hey everyone, what's going on? Ben, your agent with Oscar and Ishmael with the ADU guys. I'm really excited to kind of talk about everything ADU today. So every single step you need to know about ADU and building an ADU, right guys? So thank you guys, Oscar and Ishmael, for jumping on my YouTube channel. For those first time jumping on my channel, if you guys have not subscribed yet or hit the bell or the notification, it's time to do so. So thank you for jumping on, and let's get this interview started. So Oscar, just a little bit about Oscar and then Ishmael. Oscar here, he's been in business together with Ishmael since 2017. They have done over 35 projects in multiple cities, and with an S10, they're going to look forward to doing more projects in the future. Ishmael, his partner right here, he's been in management for over 20 years, have a heart for customer service, and wants to make sure that the process goes smoothly. And so he works right in the field and in the office. So you'll get the best of both worlds with Ishmael here. So let's go with the first question here, guys. How long? I kind of gave a little bit about it in the introduction, but how long you been in the ADU business?
Thank you for having us. First of all, we've been in since July of 2017. Pretty much was approved 2017 January, but we didn't pretty much knew about it. Prior to that, we were just doing room additions, remodels, and then it pretty much became our niche. Once we learned the process and how it works, we understood the difficulty and the moving parts to it that made it very challenging, and it was not your typical construction setup, because from the blueprint process, taking it all the way to the finish stage, there was a lot of challenges that a lot of contractors at that time were not aware, and that kind of we started doing our first videos and kind of educating the public, and of course at the same time we were learning more of the process, and I fell in love with the process, and it has become our niche.
That's awesome. That's great. If someone's looking to be in the ADU business or inspired to be like in the ADU business, what kind of advice can you give someone?
A lot of patience, tolerance. Just pretty much, we've been blessed that we're actually helping even contractors
Oh wow.
that they've been in business. So we do consultations for homeowners and for contractors that are kind of they're in a sense afraid to get involved with it because they hear all the stories. So we kind of guide them and let them know the pros and cons on the process, and knowing that makes a big difference. So a lot of
Mm.
homeowners, you can get someone to come and give you a quote, but that's not enough because you just got a number. That number don't mean nothing if you don't know your pros and cons on your property that are going to hurt you at a later time. And that's the value that we bring to the table, and that's why we recommend the consultation, so we can pretty much weed out all the pros, the cons, pretty much, and determine what
Okay.
they are, and at least know what your potential cost would be if that con rises on your property, pretty much.
Got it. So you try to eliminate everything before it even happens. I see.
Correct. For the most part,
Awesome.
yes.
All right. And so, how familiar are you with state, local agency laws and regulation in regards to ADU construction?
We're very involved, and very knowledgeable based on the experience we've been having. So state says this, city is supposed to do this, but sometimes city does this or that. So
Okay.
there's certain guidelines that, for example, right now, state says you're allowed to go 1,200 square feet. There's cities that say the max you can go is 1,000 square feet. You have bedroom restrictions. You have lot coverage restrictions. That, as we move forward, that kept changing because when the ADU started, you had lot coverage. If you took a certain amount of lot coverage and your ADU was too big, you couldn't do it. And then right now, there's a law throughout all cities that they have to allow you to do a max 800 square feet. But I'm also seeing it in some cities, they're starting to push it smaller. So it's kind of
Oh,
one of those.
really?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Because right now, your minimum ADU allowable is 150 square feet and your max is 1200. A lot of
Oh,
cities are not allowing you the 1200, even if you have.
what determines those different size amount?
Well, it goes back to the city kind of wanting to take control because, as you know, the expiration date for the ADUs was going to be 2025.
Okay.
But as we move forward, they're changing, they're coming up with new laws that will still allow you to do an ADU, but it's not going to be title ADU. But it's still the same procedure. Like, for example, your SB9. Your SB9, you have your 500 square foot to 800 square foot size max, and that's you're in between those sizes. And then your JDU, as you know, is a if 500 square feet max, and it has to be part of existing living square footage. But as we move forward, they're allowing us in most cities to convert an attached garage into a JDU and
Hmm.
build a detached ADU in the backyard up to 1,200 square feet. Not all cities, but most cities. For example, I'm very pleased
Can you
with.
give us some cities that you know now that are allowing, like in Los Angeles County? Because we met in Los Angeles. So
Correct. Yeah,
what?
so Los Angeles is kind of you have to do a two-step process. So Los Angeles currently, if you want to do a JDU, it has to be part of existing living square footage, like a extra master bedroom, a family room. But if you wanted to not utilize that square footage, you have to do a two-step process where you do an addition, make that close that, get the certificate of occupancy, and open a new permit to convert that space into a JDU and still do a detached ADU.
Oh, okay.
And you know that most homes in LA, they average between 700 to 1,200 square feet for the most part. You know, you have your typical two-bedroom, one bath. Uh, the property that I met you in, I love that property because that one, you have the square footage, even though it's only a two-bedroom setup, but I would configure that into a two-bedroom main home and a one-bedroom, one-bath JDU. Demo the garage in the back because you have alley access,
Yeah.
and build a brand new ADU. That's what I would do on that particular property.
Now, for those that don't know, as far as as far as law, how many ADUs can be built on a single family resident currently?
Two. So you have your JDU and you have your ADU. The only difference is when the ADU started, you were supposed to be owner occupied. As we move forward and the JDU came out, then you have to be owner occupied if you do a JDU. You don't
Oh,
have to live in the JDU, but you have to live it on the property.
got
That
it.
is part of your covenant that you got to sign.
Got it.
And then on multifamily, we're blessed because now with multifamily, we can do two brand ADUs as long as they're attached to themselves and detached from the main building. But if you attach it, then you can only do 25% of the total units.
Awesome.
So there's so many there's so many obstacles, and zoning plays a big role. And also for now, as you know, there's sometimes zoning changes without you knowing it. So if you used to be an R2, now you become an R1. You have a non-conforming duplex that you got to follow now certain guidelines. So it becomes tricky. But I've noticed that if you have an R2, but you
Yes.
set up as a single residence home, then your ADU laws will be based on single residence, even if you have an R2.
Well, is it true? I just heard something about how like now you can sell your ADU. Like that's coming up too, right? Something
Yes,
about like you don't have to be a homeowner for the second property to sell that second property. That's going to be interesting. What's your thoughts on that?
I
Or both of
personally,
you? Yeah.
if you don't mind,
Of course.
I don't like it. I mean, I wouldn't do it myself because now you have a new owner that owns that property,
Yeah.
opposed to being a renter. So if that owner becomes the worst owner out there,
Yeah.
it's a challenge. I think
Sure.
I would, if I develop a property, and I would not sell it separately. I would sell it as a package, and whoever buys it can sell it maybe to a son or daughter.
I
I think
agree.
it would be make more sense, you know.
I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
No, definitely. I think that's the best way. Unless you're not living in there. I mean, yeah, it's going to be problematic. Just trying to avoid all those kind of obstacles that can arise from something like that. But hey,
One of the things I think can arise right away is like, how do you divide the land? Like, like there's already problems with people like, oh, you're on my property side and things like that. Now, if you're living on the same land,
exactly,
same lot, like, and then
problems already.
now you got to like ask each other to do things on your own, like each other's land. So that's where I'm kind of like, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's
Indeed.
a challenge. I think
Yeah.
where it's gonna work out that you're gonna have a common, like an easement, so that person that says the ADU in the back and you sell it separately. Because what we're doing for a lot of our homeowners is that we're fencing off an area that is dedicated to that ADU, so that way
Mm,
the family
okay.
still have their own space, and so you have a closer neighbor with a financial benefit opposed to your neighbor to the left or to the right. So that's kind of like the way I structure it on my end when I find a property. Like me, I like to get properties that have alley access because it makes it so much easier. You run a fence and down the middle, and then they have parking alley access, and
Right.
it's really nice. You're still gonna, in most cases, have to have a common walkway to the back for
Mm-hmm.
that unit. But for the most part, I see my clients that just pretty much close it off. That
Mm.
they do a fence with a gate, but it's locked on this side. So
No,
if
I exactly know what you mean. My ADU is they have this own driveway. Like there's a big brick wall like right there, so it's almost like we're like in two separate divisions, like completely. But yeah, like it's pretty cool if they can have their own access in their own private area, so that you don't have to feel like they're seeing your house or anything. That'd be good. So that's good. Yeah,
Trying to stay off of each other's toes, pretty much.
there you go. So any more input or anything on that one, on how familiar with
Yes,
state?
what I highly recommend to anybody out there is what's happening right now. Homeowners call the city, can I do an ADU? Automatically they get a yes. But that doesn't mean you're not gonna run into issues because you have your pros and cons. Your electrical, your gas meter. Are you gonna go with separate? Do you have to upgrade the meter? Do you have bedroom restrictions? Do you have size restrictions? So many things that you won't get in that phone call that will create a burden. I have clients right now that they're already approved for an ADU to start construction, but
Yeah.
now they find out all the cons that they were not mentioned to by the person that did the plans. The advantage that homeowners have with us that we do the plans and the construction, so we're connected. And a lot of people that are doing blueprints, they don't understand the construction part of it, so they're creating an overbuilt ADU that
Uh,
whoever does the work is going to have to comply with what was approved. So that's the part that becomes more of a challenge. So now the budget just goes out the window. And what I highly recommend homeowners, especially in LA and just anywhere, properties that were built in the 1900s, 1920s, 30s are high risk of not having the minimum foundation. So that means your garage is not ADU ready. Can you still convert it? Yes. Do you have to retrofit a foundation? Yes. Is that going to cost you more money? Yes. Did you plan for that cost? No. So
yeah.
those are so I run into a lot of garages that are not ADU ready, and then sometimes I would recommend, like I have a particular client in Paramount that he called me about 18 months ago, And then I told him, that we do charge for a consultation. He said he'll call me back. He never did. He called me back about 6 months ago and said that he already has approved plans. I come over. He got approved to convert a two-car garage with a permitted storage, and now he has no foundations on the storage, no foundation on the garage itself, below grade, no stem wall. He's looking at about $38,000 to make it ADU ready, and he has a beautiful backyard. My advice to him would have been demo that rundown storage, even though it's permitted, it does you no good, and build an attached ADU to avoid the building to building setback, and that 38,000 and change could have be applied to the new ADU.
Got it.
So
So he got the permit himself.
well, he went through someone else that does plans.
Oh,
But that's all I was trying to tell you, that that's a very
backwards.
shady situation, because unfortunately, a lot of people that do the blueprints, they kind of do what the client wants. My approach is, of course, I want to do what the client wants, but at the end of the day, we know that we have to do what the city allows,
Yeah,
and
right.
that's kind of where the little.
That's kind of the next question. That's perfect. So, are the laws and regulations the same for every city?
No, they should be, but they're not. They're not. There's bedroom restriction, size. So because you have your standard codes that pretty much they're across the board, but there's certain things that the city might want. For example, there's cities that are pushing to do a survey, even though you're doing a garage conversion, and there's cities that are not. And then you got your soils report. So there's so much stuff that you run into that you don't run into all cities, so they're not all the same. So I definitely recommend a consultation so we can get that information from the beginning. So before we start our journey, we know our pros and cons and kind of know the price for those cons if they were to arise. That way, when you move forward, you're really considering a true budget. I have clients that call me and say, I want to convert my garage and my budget's 35,000. I go, do yourself a favor, go on vacation, take me with you, and let's enjoy that money. Because anybody that takes you on that type of budget, it's not gonna work.
Not at all.
So, if you don't mind, I know it's different for every case, every scenario is different, but how much is an average? I know you have to have a consultation, and that's why we're on this live here, so people can be aware of doing this consultation before asking the average price, right? Everyone wants to get on the
That's what
Oscar. How much is this? So tell them, a little bit more what's in that consultation. I mean, are you going to show up? What's the steps? Like, you're going to show up with Ishmael here, or like what's it look like?
So on the consultation, for the most part, I'm the one that goes personally. I don't send nobody else.
Okay.
Because I have that radar, small eyes, the radar to kind of determine, your pro based on my experience. And there's a couple of times that Ismael goes with me. For the most part, though, I go by myself, and I don't send nobody else. So I look at the meters. I look at the site condition. So site condition can vary from your property, from your neighbor, from someone across the street, different city. So if you're in a flood zone, for example, Garden Grove has a lot of areas that are flood zone related. We're going to require a flood zone report. So all those things are very important. If you're building on a property that you have a slope, we're going to need a sump pump. We try to avoid that. The city doesn't want that, but when that's the only option, like right now we're doing one in Riverside and one in Rosemead, that we are required a sump pump, and we might be doing one in Sierra Madre because the ADU is going to be all the way in the back and the main house is higher. So there's the only way.
Yeah, that's where we thought we're going to get a sub pump for our house too, but luckily they were able to push it out all the way to make it. We didn't need one.
Made it, yeah. So that's so it's very important. So what we do, when we start the project, we run a camera to make sure that based on our distance, that our lateral sewer line was going to be lower than our ADU, whether it's 6 inches, but that makes a difference because you can be 6 inches below it, and that's it. Just because of that, you have to go through this procedure, and the sump pump has to go through engineering, and that's average cost is between $10,000 and $12,000, give and take.
I see. So when in how long is a consultation typically take you?
Typically, I've typically 15 to 30 minutes. It really depends on my client because sometimes I tell them if you have something else in your house that you want me to look at, take advantage of me. I'm there. I've done a couple that have gone an hour because of that connection, and also what I tell my homeowners that they're becoming an investor and a developer without really thinking about it. So this is I like to share my knowledge. So I really like to give a lot of information. I want to share with you what I know because I already went through this journey multiple times, and I want to make sure that you're ready for this journey too, and know your pros and cons. Because if you don't know that, and you as a realtor investor, you know that construction, you're unforeseen, that word, it just means a blank check later on. And you don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
Got
So one of the biggest things that during a consultation is just like in real estate, disclose. I think that's where our biggest informational point is the fact that we point out to you, hey, this already here doesn't look right. And to be honest, that's the only thing we can do is be honest with you. Because at the end of the day, you're the one who has to make the decision and know, hey, up front, like this is not right. This is not even up to code. This is not even permitted. Just so you know, and then to go through all that journey, at least you have that information. Hey, we could say, oh yeah, whatever you want here, have muffins too. No, we're gonna come and we're gonna be honest with you and let you know. I know you want to hear all the great things that yes, you're gonna be a millionaire, but we have to be realistic here and just let you know the information that's in front of us. Hey, this is A, this is B.
Okay.
Well, Ben, real quick, if you don't mind, the main thing for me also when I'm at a property, unfortunately, a lot of homeowners, especially if they're new homeowners, they bought something that's been there for many years, and the existing homeowner added something that was not permitted. So I kind of catch on to that right away, and I let them know that that's going to be something that can get triggered during the blueprint process. And sometimes if it goes under the radar, it might be triggered when the inspector actually gets there. So just kind of give them the real deal of what they're looking to, what they're getting involved. Because not knowing that, like I don't sugarcoat things. And sometimes, I'm not gonna lie to you. I run into homeowners like, well, I talked to other people. They didn't say that. I go, yeah, because they're looking at a potential change order and not share with you that stuff. Or maybe they're not knowledgeable enough to really catch on to that,
Got it. Now I have two questions. So the first one is like, okay, they're down to do it. They like the consultation. They're down to do it. Now talk about financing, right? Yes. So how do you guys go about financing with the seller? Do you guys take money? Like, how's that work for you guys? And for those that have never done it, how's that work? Yeah.
So we have depends on the homeowner. It's like right now, your first time, like someone just bought a house, they have no equity, so it's very difficult.
Let's say they've been in the house for a while. Okay. Let's say they've been in the house for 20 years. Now they caught on with this whole ADU bug, and now they're like, hey, I want an ADU in the back. They have equity in the house.
Yeah, so we work with different lenders, and we recommend them to provide the information that is needed to see what they qualify. There's right now. As you know, with the ADUs, they're not getting the appraised value, so they're not really made for flipping. And we're actually going to do a video on that. That is very dangerous to do an ADU with intentions to flip, because if your buyer does not have the difference, comes in with a difference, you're not going to be able to sell because they're not going to get the appraised value because nobody's really selling the ADUs.
Right.
So going back to the loan portion of it. We help our clients.
What type of loan is it? Is like a
Uh,
conventional loan? It can be. What I mean.
Normally, it's been HELOC for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah, because nobody wants to refinance right now based on the interest rate that they have
Okay.
versus the current rate. A lot of lenders are pushing to refinance. I don't. My advice is that no, but at the end of the day, it depends on the client. What makes more sense for them? If the numbers make sense for them, then they kind of. But most people are they get a HELOC or a construction loan. That's kind of like the approach that they have.
Well, you work with a bank or a mortgage company
Yes.
to take care of
Well,
it.
yeah, we're working with different people that are loan officers that we're working with, and we pretty much try to see what try to connect them, see how they get connected, pretty much.
To get started, how much down would so is it a typical 3% down? Like if someone was to buy a house, right? I always tell them at least 3% for a down payment. Now to start an ADU, how much do they need to save to to do a down payment with the if they're going to get a loan, right? So what
Yeah,
is
so it depends on the loan. So sometimes, for example, they might not qualify for the full loan. They might just qualify for 60%, 70% of the loan, and they have to have the rest. So it all depends really on their credentials and what their situation is. And if some banks are helping out with the future value, and that helps them get qualified. But
okay.
again, it really, at the end of the day, it really depends. It's an individual case because I had a client in Hawthorne that he had excellent credit. He had a lot of equity, and they only qualify him for, I think it was like 75% of the total. And he wanted the full amount because he had the equity, he had the credit, but he didn't qualify, so he just chose not to continue with the ADU. And we
Uh,
told him that we would finance the difference, but
yeah.
he wanted to just deal with one lender.
Okay. I
Yeah.
see. So you okay, cool. So let's go to the next question. What is the average time of completion for someone to obtain permits and your construction timeline? This is
Okay.
great. Right after the consultation, they talk finance with you. So,
So, for example, let's say my client says we send them a proposal within 3 days, and they say, Oscar, we have a couple questions. We go through the question and answers, and then they say, "Yeah, Oscar, we want to move forward. We schedule an appointment to go do the measuring within a week and a half to two max. We'll provide them with two layouts, and then from there they can say, Oscar, well, I like everything, but can we move the bathroom here or just do a couple of changes? Once they approve the design, then it's going to take about 2.5 to 3.5 weeks to get the whole package ready for submittal, which is going to be engineering, Title 24, elevation, site plans, the whole package. We submit it. Once it gets submitted, the city's going to get it. They're going to assign it to a planner. The planner's going to review it. I've seen lately 2.5, 2 weeks to 4 weeks to get approval from planning, but not all cities get the planning approval first, and some cities you have to do the whole package, meaning that they're gonna give you they're gonna approve the planning, but they're not gonna tell you right away, and then they're gonna automatically start with the building and safety, and then you have your clearances, you have your LED, your fire department. I have projects that were already approved by planning and building and safety, and other departments are still lagging. For
mm,
example, Santa Ana is one of the cities that requires the police department to view the plans. I'm like, whoa, why? But that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
so
You know,
every city has a someone to approve each step, huh? Is that what I'm hearing?
yes, yeah.
Okay.
And let's just say that's going to just I'll use you as an example. You're the fire department division, and the plans get put on your desk, and you're scheduled to go on vacation. Guess what? It's gonna stay on your
Ah,
desk. So average time that we were working with was 4 to 6 months, but right now I've been seeing it on some standard stuff. It's been pushing 6 to 10 months. That's kind of been like a very standard time frame. It all depends on if you're doing a garage conversion, are you doing a brand new, are you doing an addition, are you doing two ADUs? But to be more on the time frame best time frame I've seen on the garage conversion has been 4.5 months. But it really, but also depends on the client. I have clients that we provide a consultation, and then we get a call back like 6 months later, and then and then when we get the design ideas, they're sharing with their family members or coworkers, and then something that can be like a 1.5 2 week process can go up to a month, 2 months. So customers also dictate the time frame. I've seen that happening
How did they dictate the time frame again?
by making decisions quicker. You know, because
Oh, okay.
they go like, I'll give you an example. If we provide two layouts to a client, and they make some changes. They come back to us, but then they get it back, and then they're sharing with a coworker, or they go on vacation, and then we're still in limbo because the city doesn't is not aware of what we're doing until we actually submit to the city. So
So you
that
have to have everything submitted to the city before you guys do it, or can things be added, like you said, like when
I
sometimes
don't.
homeowners are like, "Oh wait, I want this as well, additional patio, or I want a cover on this side." You know how?
And it happens as long as it's not
Yeah.
structural. We can still add things while we're in the process, but because once it's structural, one is going to create a change order because now we have to revise the structural calculations, and
Hmm.
now we're kind of going back and forth. So I've what we've learned, and it's better. It works out better for us and our clients that when we submit site plan, elevation, floor plan, engineering, what do you call it, the Title 24. I have a lot of, I ran to clients where the designer knows that they got to submit a Title 24, and they don't submit the title. They wait till the city calls it as a correction. Why? You just wasted,
Yeah.
2 to 6 weeks easily because now it has to go back, and it goes back on in queue, and the turnaround in some cities can be 2 to 4 weeks, and then so it's like playing.
So
Uh,
you're saying you can get all that done first time. You don't have to
yes,
wait to do one thing and then the next, and then
yes.
put another. Okay. Okay.
And that's how we do it because that's the way we can make our timing get smaller, you know. And then
Now,
once it gets in the city, then it's pretty much we're on their time.
Now, everything in the ADU has a permit, right? Just for the audience to know, like electrical has a permit, the water has a permit. People don't realize that. They think it's just one permit for the whole house. It's a permit for everything, right? The roofing, the beam. Like, can you share those kind of things that might?
I'm glad, Ben. I'm so happy you mentioned that because this happens a lot. That there's cities that approve the plans, the building, but they don't have mechanical, plumbing, or electrical permit.
Right,
But they already have a permit to do the construction.
right.
The person that was doing the plans didn't get all that from the beginning.
Yeah,
Now, like we did one here in Torrance, and when we called the inspector to come and do our framing, he came, but we wanted to do combo inspection. He goes, "Well, hey, you don't have permits for electrical,
yeah,
mechanical, or plumbing." Like,
yeah.
wow. So that happens a lot, and that's the difference with us that we try to get all that as a package from
Love
the
it.
beginning, and you will need that. And for example, if you're gonna upgrade your meter from 100 amp to 200 amp, I highly recommend to go that extra mile and just get a separate meter because with the electrical is the one you're gonna have more of an issue. Oh, you left the AC on, and now Title 24 is requiring a mini split. So the mini split is going to run in the summer It's going to run in the winter.
Yeah, you have to have the main for the main. You got to have two, right? That's one for the main house and one for the ADU.
Well,
They
that's
don't.
what I recommend. You don't have to in most cities, but there's some cities that are requiring for you to
Oh,
have a separate meter. For example, Rivers, all cities that we work with, they did not require a separate gas. It was pretty much the customer's choice. Riverside is requiring for you to have a separate gas meter.
it should be.
It's better. It's
Yeah,
better. Mhm.
because ultimately, if you're gonna use it investment, like your clients are gonna pay for it. So
Yeah. But
that's
a
my
lot of times is the upfront cost that a lot of clients kind of held back from doing those extra benefits to them, so that way they have two complete separate
right.
units. Like for example, Long Beach, a lot of my clients have been doing the separate water,
Mm-hmm.
separate gas, separate
Yeah.
electrical, because a fee in Long Beach for separate water is not as expensive as it is in LA. So in LA, a lot of my clients are not doing separate water meters, and some clients want to do the meter readers to just read the water, so that way you can be telling one unit this is how much you're gonna pay.
Yeah.
You become the water boy, pretty much. You might do it for 1 month, 2 months, and all of a sudden you're like, forget about it.
Can we also add the fact that now people don't understand ADU is a new home construction, so it's requiring even solar. Am I correct?
You are correct.
So you need to allocate that in your cost as well, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. So right now on the solar is averaging between 8,000 to 17,000, depending on the type of the requirement for the solar. But you definitely want to take that in consideration. So new construction will require, and sometimes it's not that the city requires. So we're
No.
doing a project in Garden Grove where the city did not require solar, but the Title 24 did.
Yeah, because it's a new construction, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
But if
That's
you go to other cities that are net zero, that even though it's a garage conversion, they're still requiring solar panels.
wow, that part I didn't know. That's amazing. Well, hey, this is the best question I feel like. Where do we see you guys going in 5 years from now?
Hawaii. I see ourselves really helping more families, pretty much, take advantage of the of this law, because without this, real estate has always been the best vehicle to come up financially for us. We see ourselves helping a lot of families, uh, and because we're also doing our own ADUs for ourselves. So where we see ourselves is having multiple office. Right now, we're planning to open an office in Riverside, and we're hoping to go uh, San Diego after Riverside, and then hopefully going to Ventura. And we've been getting a lot of calls from San Jose.
Oh, wow.
So we're
Okay.
hoping to branch out and be able to help more families to really take advantage of the ADU laws.
Awesome. Well, to wrap it up, we have some feedback and comments here. I'll read it from one of the viewers here. They're asking, "Peace Mind, thanks for participating here. How long is the warranty? Do you guys have a warranty with your company?"
Yes, we do. So, for example, the warranty for structural is 10 years. And then for other stuff, it's 3 years. And then we have for example, wear and tear. So we run into situations like recently we got a call from a client in Whittier that their shower was not flowing correctly. So we went out there, and it turned out that they had a lot of hair in the drain, so that doesn't apply to us. But we kind of just say, next time we come and it would run into the same situation, then there will be a cost for a service charge.
Got it. Awesome. Well, I mean, I appreciate your guys' time. We went over a little around 39 minutes, 40 minutes of your time. I really appreciate it. Was there any last comments that you guys want to share, and how can they get in touch with you? Of course, I'll leave, if your guys are interested in a free consultation with them, I'll leave their information below in the description. But is there any last words you guys want to share?
Yes, take advantage of the ADU laws because they're here to stay for a good 5 years, 7 years if everything goes well. But this is the way to go right now because most of my clients are either doing an ADU for their kids or the kids for their parents. So, and then right now, the fact that your main home becomes a triplex, practically, it's a gold mine. I think it's a way to keep our family closer at an affordable cost. So I think take advantage of the AD laws.
Awesome.
And
Michelle, oh, go ahead.
you can reach us at 310-984-9398.
Perfect.
Yeah. As for me, yes, take advantage, and when you do go on this journey, understand it is a journey. It's not going to be all hunky dory all the time. You're going to have some things that might come up, but we're always here to communicate. Work through it, talk about it, and let's keep moving forward so we can get the project done. So just understand that it is a journey for sure.
Teamwork. We become a team pretty much during the process.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with me. Again, they're available, as you heard, multiple cities, multiple counties throughout Southern California. I appreciate this very educational, informative time with them. So if you need any more information, please let us know, and we look forward to serving you guys. How can the real estate community serve you guys? Is there a way that partner up and serve you guys more? Would you say? Because at the end of the day, we're in the same field. So
I think networking, working together, and exploring. For me, when I go to a property, I become like a radar, just kind of see the potential in it. So when I tell my clients when I'm at their property, I pretend it's mine. What would I do? How can I take advantage of this property? For example, I have clients that want to do a 1,200 square foot ADU, and then I kind of pick their brain and they tell me why they want to do it, and I tell them that's not going to be a good thing for you because you're going to build this oversized ADU to end up with 3 families instead of just doing a 2-bedroom, comfortable 750, 800 square feet, and then utilize the other part of the money to maybe do a JDU. And now you're maximizing. So I try to advise my clients, and then of course, on the garage conversions, if you have a 360 square foot garage or bigger, I'm always recommending to go with the 1-bedroom instead of a studio because you get more value and more comfort for the people going to live in there. So if there's a couple, someone could be in the room because you still need a bed area and a closet. So it makes more sense financial, long-term growth, and benefits for your tenants to have a small 1-bedroom. And keep in mind, everybody's already has a mindset and they're not expecting anything big. So by having this dividing wall and door, it just add more value to it and comfort to that's my advice. But of course, I have 3 clients that actually said, no, Oscar, I want a studio. Guess what? I got a call later. I want a wall. And now to do a wall, to go to the city, now you're looking at an extra cost, revision, permits, blueprints, because now your original permits were stamped as a studio, not a 1-bedroom.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, those are really good points right there. As again, if you have just jumped on, definitely watch the replay. There has been really good information about permits, what you need to expect, how much everything might take, and what to know before you get started. So thank you again, ADU guys, Oscar and Ishmael, for jumping on with me. And I look forward to working with you guys in the future, and send any clients your way so that we can help them accomplish their dream in ADU.
Yes, sir. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Thank
All
you.
right, guys. Take care and have a good day, everyone.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye-bye.